Last week we did slow down. We're in a process circle, which to me, that just means for me, I bring in the process that I would like us to all follow into the space, and then allow ourselves to process non-verbally. And then we get some chance for a couple of folks here and there to share. But last week we are in slow down. Where are the holidays taking you? So we talked about reflecting, looking back at the past, all the stuff that we had been to, whether it was deep past or recent past, showing up for us and taking us somewhere. We have these holidays that come up at this time of the year. We've had them repeat. So we're used to the rhythm of it. And so as the time approaches, we get taken. And that's what that was about. And so underneath that picture, there was the little definitions that I had for each one of these words: holiday and home. Holiday is usually seen as a break from work. And when you break down what rituals and traditions and celebrations that the holidays represent, it's all about either or all of resting, resourcing, reflecting, and reckoning. So what we're usually doing at this time, where we're taking a break from our, at least in the capitalistic societies, we're taking a rest from the hustle, bustle, go and grind, and then going to a personal hustle, bustle, grind, and that's usually what we're taken into, especially as adults. And also, we're getting taxed as children too. With home, home is seen as where you live. And then there's some other, like, more colloquial and embodied definitions, like where you rest, where you dwell. And dwell isn't just like the living situation, but also where your mind goes. We talk about dwelling and ruminating. Where you dwell can be home. Where you grew up can be home. And where your heart is. And for me, where your heart is, right here in the body. We talk about where our heart is in terms of where it's just like dwelling mentally, where your heart is emotionally can also be home. But for this particular process circle, we're talking about our heart is in our bodies. And so home is in our bodies. Staying home for the holidays is staying in our bodies for the resting, the resourcing, the reflecting, and the reckoning. We're going to embody these holidays. Last week, we did the reflecting on the past. Today, as we move into our stretch out portion of slow down, stretch out, and feel through the holidays, we're going to be projecting into the future, looking at where our mind goes when it comes to this holiday. We'll get a little bit more into that. Oh, there he is. Denard, what you got?
Oh, I'm already in the chat, man. I got my seat. Thank you for having us get started. I don't want to overtalk, man. I like where you're going, man. So I'm gonna be your left hand man in the chat, and I'll be taking any questions, any comments, and I'll be shifting them towards you as we get into this process circle. I don't got so to answer your question, I got nothing. How about that?
All right, let me check in about this last week. So we did our slow down processes in the circle last week, and in the groups that I had have off circles, we've been practicing throughout the week. I'm curious if you did any of that process during the course of your week, or if anything showed up for you on the heels of that practice in your last week. And I'm asking you, Dinar.
Oh, good question. Good question for Denard. Good, good question for Denard. I want to say there was a reckoning that showed up, and it started based on what we talked about. If you recall, remember we talked about like, and I think it was Susie that shared a little bit about the grief, right? Sitting with it. So reckoning took place for me as I was processing the holidays. It was like a subtle residue that started subtly, right? That I became more conscious of it, and and I want to reflect on how it made my body feel actually in that moment. I felt a level of fatigue, bro. Um, and restlessness. And I think it really mirrored my emotional state, to be honest. Luckily, I had a therapeutic session with my therapist, and he's like this like a sage, like he's like this wealth of wisdom, and so he just listened and offered some clarity.
Hmm.
And then I want to say it landed in terms of my body. I could see because I had like this very like visceral red hot chest pain, shallow breathing that was happening.
Mm.
And then it just led me to, after talking to him, some comfort. I did find some comfort, and I was able to reflect. And I think ultimately what I reflected on was I felt like I was in a state of urgency and emergency as I thought about grief. Like I gotta do certain things during these holidays. It made me get into that pressure mode. Like if I don't go
Yeah.
to this gathering, then this might happen. I thought back about my
Hmm.
dad and all this stuff, and so yeah, it definitely put me into that state. But I left with the reality that those things are my perceptions of what could happen. And I did something what a group member said today. I actually just went into like grounding, and I think you might like that. She talked about just sifting in through the dirt. And so I started to peel my front yard. I looked crazy, right? Because I started uprooting some stuff, but it was a good type of crazy. And then I did something my wife got mad at me about, but she couldn't do nothing because she was inside and she was looking at us through the window. So I went I went barefoot, and our neighbors have some acorns that are falling down from the tree, and I had my kids do the same thing. So this was my grounding, and we walked on the acorns.
Mm.
Yeah. And so that was my journey, and it just brought me a sense. And I now decided I'm just going to do a 1 day turnaround instead of feeling obligated to stay during the holidays.
Yes. Oh, I love hearing the stories that end with, oh yeah, and then I decided to make a different decision because I went through the feelings and then I made a decision based on those feelings.
Yeah, and I'm okay and happy with it. Right.
Yeah. Yeah. You said a phrase, restless, well, you didn't say the phrase. My mind made the phrase with those two words that you used. Restless fatigue sounds horrible.
Mm.
Restless fatigue sounds horrible. But when you said urgency later, that made sense. Where it's like
Yeah.
it's not, it's there's this burst that needs to happen, and the rest of you hasn't really even caught up, or you don't have the capacity for that burst, and it's like, oh, I want to rest, but I can't because I got something surging in me. Ooh. But I also appreciate your story because you're what you were processing over the course of the week, and especially the looking ahead. If I don't do this, then this will happen. If I do this, then this should happen, and this is what's going to happen. Is what we're getting into today with our process. We are in stretch out. Let me grab my little stretch out picture. Oh, dude, you're not even see. Come on, circles. Let me stop doing that. This is gonna be going out to people. Okay, there you are. Stretch out. All right. So over in the chat, I just put our process for today, the question that underlines and is the groundwork for the process that we'll be doing today. Stretch out. Where are you going for the holidays? So that first one was where the holidays taking you. So the holidays, the ghosts of holidays past were coming to take you somewhere. Now, when you're looking ahead with that holiday upcoming, now you're going places. Your mind is taking you through all the scenarios of what could and should happen in that holiday. And as your mind does that, as you start looking at that and start calculating those things, your body it's almost like your body is being transported to that place and it has to live through all that The same way that when you start to think of, oh no, I have to have a hard conversation with my boss or my partner, or or I have to go and do something really difficult, like a big presentation or something like that, and you know your heart starts to beating fast, and you start to sweating, and mind starts to racing. That's you going somewhere. You're going somewhere that's not right here. And so that's the question that's going to be underlining the process that we're going to do. We're going to use this body. We're going to stretch this body out. And the first process in that is going to be a full body like massage. I'll use the word massage, but it's a full body like kind of touch, but it's a pressurized touch. What you're doing is you're squeezing and pushing your muscles down into your bones. And so we're going to do that for 2 minutes. I'm going to let you know when we're going to start. And just like last time, well, last time I stayed silent because I wanted you to actually hear the silence of 2 minutes. This time, I'm going to use my voice a little bit. You do your own process, what your body asks you to do. And if your body's not asking you to do something, then you can go by the guidance that I offer. But we're just going to go through our body in these 2 minutes. And we're going to affirm that it's here. And we're going to acknowledge and open up some space for more more things to happen, more information and resource to move through this body of ours. All right. Grab my timer over here because I get lost in this sometimes and I need my timer, especially when we're doing the 2 minutes. Okay. So why don't we start by go ahead and getting into your breath, finding your breath. Those of y'all that have not been in my sense of self circles on Saturday and Sundays at noon Eastern, I always say this: finding your breath is all about getting your awareness to all the components of your breath. How fast or slow, how deep or shallow, how warm or cool, how loud or quiet. Just being with that breath, because being with the breath brings us to the present. We cannot breathe in the past or the future. So the more your awareness is on the components of your breath, the closer you are to the present. So as you're here, we're going to go ahead and deepen and slow that breath. That's that slow down. So we're slowing that breath down and deepening it, shifting our relationship to time. Because as we get into our bodies, we don't want to be moving too fast. Deep in to the edge of that capacity, and then slow out to the edge of the other side of that capacity. So this is the rhythm, this is the cadence of your breath that you're going to stay with in each one of our processes when we get into our stretch out. Okay. Right. So let me go ahead and start our timer. What you're going to do is you're going to start by placing your hands on the top of your head. So the top, kind of massaging that scalp, moving your hands down your face. Oh, you can move it down your sides of your head, rubbing your ears. I can't necessarily do that because I got the headphones on. But rubbing that face, those facial muscles, moving down to your neck and shoulders, down those arms to your elbows and wrists and hands. And up those arms to your chest, sides, and back. I don't know about y'all, but I got all kinds of crackling going on. Down to your belly, waist, lower back, hips, mm, down your butt to your legs, thighs, hamstrings, knees, down those shins, calves, to your ankles, ankles, feet, and toes. 5, 3, 2, 1. And that's time. So that's your 2 minutes. It's a pretty swift one when it comes to a full body touch. And here you are. So staying with that breath, go ahead and get yourself to body still with that deep, slow in, slow out breath. And just feel your body. And I'm going to ask a question and just see if your body has any responses to it. Where are you going for the holidays? Just a general question. I'll break that question down for our next couple of processes. But where are you going? And that's a broad one. I have it in quotes for a reason. It could be a place, it could be a group of people, it could be emotion. I'm headed to hell for the holidays. I'm headed to heaven for the holidays. But what's your body saying about that? Where are you going for the holidays? Everybody, deep breath in and a pause at the bottom. Slow breath out and a pause at the top. Right. So I'll take a couple of shares for where are you going for the holidays? Take 3 hands. We have Z right now. So go ahead, Z.
Hey Mike,
Hello.
I the last 2 years I left my home for the holidays because it was uncomfortable to be home. But this year is the first year that I'm gonna stay put and I'm gonna feel all the feels that I ran away from the last 2 years.
Left home and now staying home. It's the first year of staying home. Mm, thank you, Z. Chelsea.
I love this. Okay. So for the holidays, I'm kind of going inside myself, but not in like a hiding, protect myself, like a hello, how are you?
Mm,
Like, what do you want to do? And I totally have been like sitting with myself, well, you know, 45 seconds at a time if I can. But that, yeah, I just think for sure I just want to reintroduce myself to myself.
yes. Oh, that actually brings an expansion in my chest. Reintroduce myself to myself. That's man. It's and I will say from my own experience that homecoming and that reintroduction to self isn't always necessarily the best one. I know, but I cussed myself out. Because like, where the fuck you been? You've been neglecting, you've been avoiding, you've been resisting, and now you want to come around? We got some repair work to do, and we did. I had to stick through that. I had to stick through that. I was the one that did those things, and I had to accept it. That's really cool, Chelsea. Denard, where are you going for the holidays?
Well, thanks for checking in. I really do resonate with the reintroduction, and I love that language coming into myself. The word that came up was nowhere. I like it
Mm,
here, right? And
nowhere I like
the
it here. Can somebody put that in the
yeah.
chat? Damn.
This guy, this guy, man. I really, and I'm gonna put this out there. I know we got recordings, man. And I definitely need like low key a 2 minute recording of you walking us through that because I never felt the palm. What do you call it? The what do you call the bottom of your feet? But I never felt it like that ever in my life. Like this was, boy. I don't know what you just did to me, but it just changed my life, man. But no, seriously, nowhere. I like it here, man.
That's really cool. That is so cool. All right. And Rebecca,
I like that answer. I feel the same way. Like, I don't have to go anywhere, and I'm not going to. Like, wherever I am is where I am. Wherever you go, there you are, right, Mike?
mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I
Wherever you
mean,
go.
now it depends. With all the dissociation that we do,
I'm trying.
wherever you go,
Listen,
you
I've
might
been
not be
working
there.
on it. I've been working on it. Wherever you go, there you are. I'm still going to be there trying to be best. So, and Denard, you need to come to more of Mike's rooms. You'd like it.
You already know. Listen, you just challenged me, and I'm taking that challenge. I'll be there like literally right now.
Well, good. Glad to have you here with us. Thanks, Mike.
Yeah, thank you, Rebecca. All right. We're going to get ready to go into our second round of our process. And I'm going to put those a couple of breakdown questions. And I have two more waiting at the end for our last one. Oop, that was the wrong one. Oh, it wasn't the wrong one. I just put something in there that wasn't supposed to be in there. Delete. There we go. Okay. So I just put the questions over in the chat so you can have those and take those with you into our next stretch out process. So the where are you going for the holidays and also break down to what upcoming December holidays are you considering participating in? Because even the considering will have you go somewhere, will have your body experience something of your trajectory, of your projections. And then what is your role in your upcoming December holiday? Now, that one is one where we think about the roles that we play: parent, child, teacher, professional, uh, student, etc. All of these different roles that we play, even the identities that we hold, they they have a certain body signature, a certain body presentation. We form our bodies in certain ways based on what role that we're carrying at the time. Me as father hold myself in a different way than me as lover. And so this is what we'll be getting into with this next 2 minute stretch out process. So ask yourself those questions. What are you considering participating in terms of your December holidays? And then what's your role? Right. So let's get back into our breath, bringing all that awareness into that breath. We're going to deepen and slow that breath. And then this time, we're going to add pauses to the ends of our breath. So you have a deep, slow in with a pause at the bottom and a slow breath out with a pause at the top. Let those pauses be a little bit longer than what you're used to, just a little bit so that you can have that stillness and that silence, and then move into that next breath. Stillness and silence, and then move on to that next breath. Right. So this stretch is going to be a wake up stretch. So it's like if you've taken a nap or you were sleeping overnight and you get up and you're sitting on the side of your bed, head hanging, arms hanging, and you feel the droop. And what you're doing when you do that wake up stretch, just like a cat, you're just extending and tensing every last muscle in your whole ass body. And that's what we're going to be doing for 2 minutes. And I'll guide us through a few of those different ones. And again, follow your body. If your body has its own way of doing that full body stretch, then allow it to do that. So you're in that pausing breath, deep, slow in, pause, slow out, pause. And you're going to lift your hands up and you're going to pull your legs down and squeeze and release. Pause in, pause out, pause. Now reaching your arms and legs out to the sides and stretching out, getting your fingers and toes pointed and trying to reach them out as far as you can away from your torso and release. Oh, ooh. Now you're going to pull your hands back to behind you, trying to touch your elbows behind you to each other. Pulling your head back like you're roaring up to the sky so you can stretch out that chest. Squeeze and release. Ooh. Now you bend over like you're trying to grab your ankles. And you're going to grab your legs and pull and squeeze and release. Now let's go ahead and wrap our arms around ourselves like we're giving a hug. Go ahead and cross those legs like your legs are hugging each other too. And you're going to squeeze and release. 3, 2, 1. That's 2 minutes. So find yourself in a still body position. You're still in that deep, slow breath in with a pause and a slow out with a pause. And be with those body sensations. Some things might have been jostled loose. Some things might have been extra strained. Feel around as I ask you these questions. What upcoming December holidays are you considering participating in? What is your role in your upcoming December holiday? What are you noticing that your body is letting you know? All right, everybody, deep breath in with the pause at the bottom. And when you exhale, blow out like you're blowing out a candle. Right, you can release your breath. And I'll take a couple of shares on that. And before we get to the shares, I'll just mention the couple of notes that I have underneath that stretch out. I have to notice reflexes and patterns and to notice likes and dislikes. So with that stretching out, what we're doing here in this process is all about taking all the stimuli that we have in our day and in our timeline. So we have stimulus coming from the past. We have stimulus that we're projecting off from the future. We have stimulus happening in the present. We have breathing stimulus. We have digesting stimulus. We have people around us. We have objects. We have noises going off all over the place. And all that stimuli all converges and overwhelms because it's all kind of converging on us at the same time and we don't have ourselves in distant relation or time relation with all of those things. It seems like they're all happening right now at the same time. And so when we're stretching out, we're making more space for that stimulus to be able to move a little bit, have its own space, so that my stimuli for I'm thirsty isn't mixed up with the stimuli with I gotta pee. They can be two separate things rather than overwhelming me and I have to figure out which one I'm gonna do. And I'm just using those two, but there's so many things that are grabbing and reaching and pushing for our attention. And so we stretch out to make space for all the things that are happening within us. And so that's where we start to notice. When we have that space, we notice the reflexes that we have. Oh, I'm playing a role here. Like, oh, I can see myself people pleasing. Oh, I can see myself making a decision that's not necessarily my favorite one, but it's one that I've made all the times before. So that pattern. And then I also get to notice if I'm starting to make a decision that I don't really like, if I'm going so fast and I'm so dense, I won't even notice that I don't like it unless I give myself some time and that slowing down and I give myself some space and that stretching out to realize, oh, I don't even like that. Why do I keep doing that? That's a great question. I won't do that anymore. So that stretch out helps us notice those things. Right. So, what holidays are you considering? What's your role? We have Robin, and I'll take a couple more shares. Go ahead, Robin.
You'll like this share because I changed the second answer through this stretching. But the first one, where am I going? I couldn't get it out of my head that I am going into a Charles Dickens novel with the
Mm,
ghosts and the chains and the looking into it. Yeah. But then when you started to, by the way, I got an adrenaline rush from this last stretch. I can feel it now. And I
yeah.
think perhaps that's why I've changed the answer on the roll. Yes, I am, mother, son, daughter, and grandmother. There is patterns, and I've always made sure, to show up and model. If people in this room have heard me say that. I'm changing that. My role in that Charles Dickens novel is I'm going to have fun. I'm going to be
Mm,
happy. I'm going to come back to my heart. I'm going to enjoy. That's going to be my role. It is like a huge aha moment because I don't have to be that other role that has been a pattern. Even though I'm walking into that Charles Dickens novel, I can be me and happy that day and celebrate. So I'm going with that. Thank you. Thank you.
yeah. Thank you, Robin.
Hmm.
And as you're sharing that and as you're saying, my role is going to be fun, that's where you go and in your own processing after this and really look at the times that you've had fun, the times that you've had joy, and what were the conditions of those things. When you were saying it, what my first reflex was, um, I'm loose, like my body feels loose, my body is
Yes.
open. When I'm not having fun is when I'm really tight. I can't remember the last time that I was having fun and I didn't feel like very open and comfortable in my body. And
Oh,
so
thank
that's
you.
one of those things to really start to look at and say, okay, I'm going to support myself in this way so that my body can feel open enough for joy to roll through it.
Great. I have some tools that I'm adding this one. I have a few tools that I'm going to add on the day before and the morning of, but I'm going to add that. That's great. Thank you. I will visualize that. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. Thank you.
Hmm.
How about you, Denard? You got a role that showed up for you?
Yeah, yeah. I was a playmaker role, but I also want to start in terms of the I had this tingling sensation. Now that I know the sole of my feet, because someone helped me out, but it was my big toe, and it kept telling me I wasn't being genuine, and
Ooh.
I kept asking it why, because I'm showing up to make people laugh when I'm not happy, and so it was interesting in what you shared here in terms of opening up and allowing room for true joy. And so I don't know where that's going for me, but it is asking me that, especially during the holidays, how can I reclaim that? So
Hmm.
yeah, that's what's coming up for me, man.
Ooh. Yeah. And and as you have more of that conversation, you might even discover that joy isn't even the thing that we're going to be focused on this time around. We're just going to be focused on being real, and that
Mm,
can be its own thing.
mm. I received that, man.
Hmm. Thank you, Denard. All right, Chelsea.
Okay, I'm so sorry if you can hear my baby. I tried to go in the bathroom, but um, I was thinking peacemaker, like my role. I was like
Hmm.
peacemaker, peacekeeper, and I'm like, I don't want to be that. So I want my role to be peace inviter,
Oh,
so that
ooh.
if people want to have peace, I'll be there. I'm here for it. That's wonderful. If not, that's fine, but I'm not here for that. So I think that's definitely what I want to lean into.
Do you have a sense of what what one of the um, differences in peacekeeper versus peace inviter is for you? Like what especially in a embodied way. Is there a different way that your body is held for each one of
Oh
those?
yeah. If peace inviter, I'm way more confident, like a host at a fancy party, even though it's not a great analogy. Like I'm very confident, this is my home. You're welcome to be here. If you can't behave, you can leave. That's what I'm like thinking of. Standing up a little bit straighter.
Yes. Oh yeah. Oh, I can see it. Right, the peace inviter, head up, looking everywhere, seeing everything. Peacekeeper, head kind of a little bit down, eyes a little bit squinted, just really being vigilant about, okay, which ways do I need to intervene rather than invite? Ooh, I like that. Thank you, Chelsea. Let me check in with Tina. What you doing over there, Tina? What's been happening for you over these last couple of processes?
I just knew you were going to call my name. I was sitting here about to get myself together to write an answer in the chat, and I said, Mike is about to call on you.
Hmm.
I knew it. I feel like for the holidays, my place, well, it's something about when Chelsea talked about role. It kind of took me back to some previous holidays, but I let myself go there and I thought about it. And then I came back to present moment. And my home will be right where my heart is. And my heart will be at peace.
Mm,
There will be this calmness about it. There will be this space of rest, space of ease and flow. And I welcome it. I'm ready.
yeah, dig that.
Yep. Packing my bags now.
Yes. I can feel the peace. All right. Before we get into our last process stretch, Rebecca.
No, it's okay. I'll hold it. Go on to the next one. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, thanks.
Cool. Thank you. All right. So, last one over in the chat. Put that tile up one more time with a couple more breakdown questions. Now, these get into that nitty gritty of what our minds are going to reach for and trying to figure out and solve as this holiday that's right, especially the Christmas one that's 2 weeks away from today, but it's still 2 weeks away. It's not right, it's not tomorrow, but we're still trying to figure it out as if it was tomorrow. So those questions, what do you have to do for your upcoming holiday? So it's kind of like the role, but there might be some things like, oh, I got to buy stuff, I got to go somewhere, I got to wrangle people, I got to schedule things, whatever it is. So what do you have to do? And then what are you anticipating your experience of your upcoming December holiday will be? That one is kind of like the one where we're looking behind us and it's like we had those days and then we can expect that to happen again, or we're looking at it and we're saying, oh, this is what the circumstances are now. I'm anticipating, I'm anticipating goodness when goodness might not be there. I'm anticipating badness when I don't even know if I'm going to go or not. There's all these things that we're anticipating. So what do you have to do and what are you anticipating your experience to be? So we're going to carry those questions into this last process, this last stretch. Go ahead and grab my timer. And while I'm doing that, everybody go ahead and find your breath. Deep and slow breath. Not going to put pauses on this time, just deep, slow in and slow out. Right, this last stretch is going to be dealer's choice. You get to choose your stretch. You can do the full body massage, you can do the wake up, or you can do a slow, subtle stretch of your body. I'm going to be guiding the slow, subtle stretch. It's just going to start with our spine and just going to move out from there. And I'll guide us through that. So you're in your breath, slow deep in, slow out. Time is starting now. So go ahead and initiate that slow, subtle stretch from your neck. Rolling your head around, taking that movement down your spine in a slow way, curving and twisting as if you're like working your way through a tube. Oh, moving that slow stretch out to the rest of your torso, bending, twisting, reaching, that moving that stretch out your arms and down your legs. It's almost like a slow motion wiggle. Like if your whole body was wiggling really fast and you slowed that down to like a quarter speed, what would that look like? Reaching your hands and arms up and over. Oh, legs out. Oh, turning to look behind you. Turning to the other side. Staying with that breath. Mm. Reaching your hands and arms behind you. bending backwards. Cool. 5, 3, 2, 1. That's 2 minutes. Go ahead and find a body stillness. Get a deep breath in with a pause at the bottom. I'm going to hold that just for a little bit longer. And then a slow breath out with a pause at the top. And just hold. All right, go ahead and let your breath go and stay with your body. What do you notice in your body? I definitely notice my heartbeat is beating really strong right now. So checking in with your body. What do you have to do for your upcoming holiday? What are you anticipating your experience it's going to be of your upcoming holiday? Okay, one more deep breath in. Pause at the bottom. And a slow breath out. Pause at the top. Go ahead and let go of your breath. Give yourself a nice little subtle wiggle throughout your whole body. All right. And I'll take a couple of shares here. What do you have to do for your upcoming holiday? What are you anticipating your experience of your upcoming holiday to be? Z.
For this holiday, Mike, even though I didn't grow up with Christmas, but I'm gonna try to celebrate just existing in the moment, celebrating us being alive, not because not by
Z,
not
hold
celebrating
on,
in the
Z.
way
You're
everybody
you're
else celebrates
Z. Hold on a sec.
it. Yeah,
I'm hearing you cutting in and out a whole lot,
get
and I'm not sure if it's me or if it's
No, it's a little bit delayed. You're
my
right on.
app has been
okay.
acting up. Can you hear me better?
Are you still there, Z?
Yeah, she is. You can hear her now. Can you hear
There you
me,
go.
Mike?
Yeah, I can.
Okay. All right.
Okay,
And
can
you're
you
there,
guys,
Z?
can I continue? Yes. Do I continue?
Yes.
Okay. This
Yes.
year I want,
Can you hear?
thank you. This,
Okay.
yes, I can hear you guys. This year I want to celebrate existing in the moment with the actual meaning of these days, not
Mm,
with all the plastic waste, not with all the lights, not with all the distractions, not with the material world, but actually appreciate existing as a spirit and connecting spiritually with the spirit of the season, of the winter, of
mm-hmm.
the Christ consciousness, of the gratitude for existing as like just celebrating being alive. I don't know how. I've never done it really for the actual like it's almost like our new celebrate our own new tradition
Mm-hmm.
away from what we've been taught, what we've been programmed that it looks like, if that makes sense. That's
Oh
what I
yeah.
wrote. be planning this.
That totally makes
Thank you.
sense. And thank you. And I really appreciate, like, there's a couple of things you got in there that we can all kind of resonate with and take with us. One being the season. It's like this is the season, we're coming up on the season where we're supposed to be resting, and a whole lot of things are going to be dying, passing, moving on, diminishing. This winter season is for rest. And what it seems like we're doing with these holidays is we're throwing away so much of the resources that we've gathered that we're going to need for our winter. And then the other thing you're saying is, I haven't done this before. This is a new thing. I've been taught something else on top of this natural process that I'm supposed to be resting and resourcing and reflecting and reckoning with. And so I have to figure it out. And how do I figure it out? Well, the only thing I can really do is stay present with me and see what I do. If I'm with with the natural organic body that I have, it will move with the season. I can be taught a whole bunch of stuff, but it wants to move with the season. Like when it gets cold outside, my body shrinks. It wants to contract so much and wants to go and just go to sleep. It wants to do that. Let me learn. Let me slow myself down enough and stretch myself out and make enough space for me to sort through what my body was wanting to do in this moment. Not what it's been taught, but what it wants to do. Not what I make it do, but what it wants to do. Hmm. Thank you, Z. You have anything, Denara?
Yeah. The stretch I did was I kind of looked at my limitations as I was stretching up, and I kind of did a spinal stretch where I may try to make my shoulder blades touch, and I heard the, as you called it, the crackling,
Mm-hmm.
and I found that in terms of what I have to do, what came up for me is the driving, and I found myself sometimes thinking in terms of anticipating what I was going to experience is that it's going to be a bad experience. It's going to be something you don't want to experience, right?
Mm-hmm.
And as I was opening up, and I heard the crackling, it reminded me too that some of your experiences are not yours alone to have, right? And it told me that in terms of that experience, maybe be authentic with it, and it might afford yourself and others to kind of share that space. And immediately, one of my colleagues came to mind that shared that he's going through a lot of grief, and I was like, brother, you can reach out and talk. And lo and behold, I'm being reminded. That's someone I'm going to meet during the Christmas holidays in Georgia, Tina.
Mm-hmm.
It's definitely a reminder that we can experience the the unjoy together too if we're
Yeah.
anticipating it.
Yeah. The real, the actual. I
Yeah,
mean, there's nothing like having a space be all frenetic and then somebody brings the depth of, you know what, I'm not feeling so great. And then the whole room just settles right into the
mm-hmm.
truth of the moment. And we bring those moments. We bring those moments with us. And you can bring yours with you. Mm, mm.
And I didn't even offer you. Oh, Sonny's hand is up. I
Oh,
definitely want to hear what's coming up for you when you get a chance, bro.
okay. Yeah. Go ahead, Sonny.
Yeah, so really quickly, I think for this holiday season, I have to learn how to just take things step by step, whether that's day by day, hour by hour, um, instead of catastrophizing like in my head,
Mm-hmm.
assuming how everyone's going to show up, what's going to happen. Then these 2 weeks, I'm just going to waste this entire 2 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I just have to take everything as face value, give grace to give grace to people as well to show up and give them that space as well, because you know I expect the same in return. So I just have to do what I need to do to get by. And if it's that hour by hour, and soon enough it'll be 2 weeks, and then we'll make it through. So I think just doing what we can.
Yeah. Thank you for that, Sonny. And I really appreciate that too, because as you were saying that, I was just thinking if you had like 2 weeks worth of like holidays in a row, like or not necessarily the holiday in terms of break from work, because I mean that's hallelujah for that. But I'm just talking about like the stress of a holiday and doing that for 14 days. Then when the day arrives, now you're exhausted and having to do all the stuff. It's like, yeah, we can give ourselves so much more space and so much more of a break by not stressing ourselves out by putting us somewhere that we're not. And that's what this is about. Slowing down, stretching out, and feeling through is about not putting ourselves somewhere that we're not. It's about being where we actually are. And so, to Dinar's question, like what's coming up for me, really is the I'm having right now, currently in my life, I'm having really a battle with the cold. Like, for a while, I used to live in Seattle, and the cold was something that I had gotten myself used to, and I got used to, wearing the heavier clothes, and I was more of a busybody then too. So I had a whole lot of an internal core heat that was able to sustain me. Now I'm not there anymore. And I'm in a place that's a warm weather place that has now just started to get like really cold, and my my system is not happy. I have a lot of friction going on, but even in this little bit of practice, this 6 minutes that I've been doing here with y'all, it's given me warmth. It's given me a touch of hope isn't necessarily the right word. It's somewhere in that neighborhood though. Just in terms of like my winter isn't going to be as harsh as I think that it's going to be. Because my body thinks it's going to be harsh because it feels this way and it's not even winter yet. Um, but I have a little bit of a hope. I'll just call it that right now. That it's not going to be as harsh as I'm anticipating it's going to be. Right.
Thanks for sharing.
Yeah. Thanks for asking. Hey, so with that, I ain't going to hold y'all. That's the end of our time. I want to thank y'all for being here, and I want y'all to make sure that you thank yourselves for being here, because this being with yourself, even 2 minutes at a time, so very necessary. We make those appointments, keep those appointments, and participate with ourselves in those appointments. Y'all take care of yourselves. Thank you for hosting, Denard. You hold yourself a great container.